I want to make sure we have enough time to talk about Blade Runner.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
Director Ridley Scott coming off of Alien. You know, I mean, he had made Alien in 1979. This is two amazing science fiction films, all made because of everything we talk about is because of Star Wars, I guess. You know, in '77. But Blade Runner was this film that it took sci-fi and gave it this film noir sort of thing. You know, he's a private detective. And what was interesting, I think, for me, when I look back on it now, having seen it as a kid, Harrison Ford's such a kind of unlikable jerk in that movie, you know?
Yeah.
And really, Roy Batty, the Rutger Hauer android character, who's a terrible, murderous killer, he's the more sort of sympathetic character.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're rooting for Roy Batty.
Oh, when he's, you know, that improv line, like tears in the rain, when he's standing there and you're just like, you horrible murder man, I love you right now. I'm so sad for everything that's happened to you.
Yeah.
You know?
It was also kind of an opportunity for Harrison Ford to act more. Like, you know, like, I mean, when I say that, maybe that's a snobbish thing to say, but it's like, you know, sometimes you're in a movie to be charismatic and wink at the camera and just put on a show. And he did a great, Harrison Ford obviously amazing at that, and that's probably why he got the opportunity to do Blade Runner in the first place. But yeah, I feel like that was him getting to stretch his acting chops in a way that mainstream Hollywood just hadn't allowed him to up to that point. So that's really interesting because that's kind of a moment where he's maturing from like an on-screen action, like kind of hunky darling, you know, of like action movies and into like an actor, an actor that would have longevity and staying power.
Oh yeah, I remember Leonard Maltin's movie review. I don't know why I remember this. He's like, Harrison Ford is everyone's punching bag in this movie, and it's true. I mean, he just gets beaten up time and again. The girl beats him up, you know, like, and he has to be saved by his girlfriend, and it's just very anti-Harrison Ford, and you know, there's been so many different versions of the movie as well.
Yep.
And, you know, really it was designed to not be a happy ending.
Well, yeah, and that's a great point. I mean, by the end of this movie, almost everybody you care about is either dead or is going to die very soon.
Yes.
And especially, and they're wonderfully ambiguous about Deckard, but including maybe Deckard if he's a replicant. So you've got this, just about everybody there is just positively SOL.
Right.
And that's one of the things I love about the movie.
Yeah.
Not a huge hit at the time, but has since become this very beloved cult favorite film.
Yeah, well, it's got a lot of problems. It's not a perfect movie, but it's a thoroughly interesting and compelling movie and really enjoyable.
Yeah. Roger Ebert famously went back and forth on his. You know, he reviewed the movie in several of its forms and came into a lot of fire actually for initially saying that he felt it was not a terribly interesting or engaging movie, and then while he reeled that in a little bit later when I think it was the director's cut that came.
Yeah.
There's been so many editions of the movie it's hard to keep track of, but he still stood by his original statement of saying that it's not a classic.
Ebert wasn't always right though.
Oh, no, yeah. Not at all to say that he was, but just to your point, this was a movie that was not critically necessarily that well received, nor was it a huge success at the box office, but nonetheless, a classic.
Well, you go in there looking for Indiana Jones as an audience, and you get Deckard. So.